We on?
Our crowd's like 20,000.
All right. Good morning, Rabbosai. Today is Yevamos Daf Samachay. We'll Mirza Hashem finish the Perek Haba Levimto.
Yes.
We'll give Rabbi Yoel Shlita a clean start with the seventh Perek. It's right there. Okay, so we begin by the Tana Rabbanan, 4 lines down. We are on Samachay Amud Aleph, 65a. The end of the 4th line, Tana Rabbanan. So you'll recall we're in the middle of a sugya of men and women who are married to one another, unable to have children. And we said in the Mishnah that after 10 years, he has to divorce her and he has to give her a ksuba because we assume it's his fault. Tana Rabbanan. Nisa, we assume it's him. The Mishnah assumes it's him. Nisa is Larishon below Hayulaban. So if he was married to the first one, she was married to the first husband, and they did not have children. L'sheni below Hayulabanim. Then she married a second guy, and they did not have children. L'shlishi lo tinaseh ela lemishi yesh lo banim. She should not marry again unless that would be her third husband, already has children. However, niseis lemisha ein lo banim. But if she marries for her third time to somebody who does not have children, and she did not inform this newest husband that she has been unsuccessful for the first 20 years over 2 marriages, Teitzei belo ksuva, she is to be released by this husband without a ksuva. Ibayelahu, they asked the question in the base medrash. That's right. We're on Samachay Amud Aleph. We are 8 lines down. Ibayelahu niseis l'shlishi v'lo hayula banim. Well, let's say she marries the third husband and she does not have children. Mahu delitbeuha hanach kamai. So can the first 2 husbands claim against her that they want their ksuba money back because it proves that she's unable to have children? Mi matsu amri la iglai milsa de atu de garant. Can they say to her, it's now been revealed for certain that you, the wife, are actually the problem, and that's why we, the first 2 husbands, are unable to have children? Or maybe she can say to them, you know what? It's been 20 years. I'm not 20 years old anymore. I'm a little older. Now I'm weaker, and now I'm unable to have children. Answers the Gemara, maybe the Gemara says it makes sense that she should be able to say to them, you know what? I'm older now. And back then it was your problem. Now it might be my problem, but I'm no longer the youngster that I used to be. Ibayelahu, another question in the base medrash. What if she got married to the 4th husband and she did have children? Mahu detisba. Can she then go back to the 3rd husband who was able to dismiss her without a ksuba?
Give me the money.
Show me the money. Where's my ksuba? Amrin an la, but we say to her, shtikusich yafemi diburich. Your silence is better than you speaking up about this. Why? If I had known then what I know now, that you're capable of having children, I never would have divorced you. Very important Rashi, 6 lines down in the narrow lines. If I had known that you could have children, I would never have divorced you. And the original get is batul lemafreya. And remember, she are mamzer. The children of the fourth husband are mamzer. So this is serious stuff, right? You got to be careful. Maskifla Rav Papa asks the following brilliant and obvious question: just because she's silent, does that mean? Just because she's silent, does that mean we're silent? The issue is intrinsic to the situation. We know that he is now regretting divorcing her because he sees that she can have children. So what do we do with that? Even if she doesn't speak up, the situation itself calls for a challenge. So we say, no, the issue is not whether she's speaking up or he's speaking up or the basin's speaking up on her behalf, but rather we say, you know what? Now she is healthy. She is somehow magically returned to health with the 4th husband, and she is only now able to have children. 2 dots by the first 5 lines. Okay, a quick.
But on the other hand, I mean, it could have been his problem too.
Could have been. But
now we don't like.
but proving that she could have had children. Okay, so as a brief 30-second Dvar Hektim Divrei Agdama for this next little piece of Gemara, look at the very last Rashi on the page. I'm going to go out of order. The last Rashi on this Amud says, Kol Shichva Zera she'eno yorek chetz ena mizaras. What does that mean? It means that a man during Bia, at the moment of Shichva Zera, at the moment of emission, Rashi says that any emission she'eno yorek chetz, that means it does not, literally translated, shoot like an arrow, meaning if it's not a strong Shichva Zera, ena mizras, that does not cause pregnancy. Now, we know that biologically, that's not necessarily true, but it does give rise to a suffix that maybe the man has some other issue that might not allow him to get his wife pregnant. All right. Now we have a case of he said, she said. Who amar mina? He said, she's the issue. Rashi, 4 lines up. Yodea ani shemach masahu she'ein li banim. I know that it's her. She's the reason I don't have children. V'lo aten ksuba. And I'm not going to give her ksuba because she's the problem. Why should I have to pay? He amra mine, and she says, nope, he's the issue, and that's why we don't have children. Amar Rabbi Ami Dvarim Shabino Levinon, and then Rabbi Ami paskins that when it comes to matters between the husband and the wife on these types of issues, she is believed. V'taimamai he kayamala biyorakachetz, because she is able to determine whether his shichva zera was considered yorakachetz, whether it was considered a strong shichva zera. Hu lo kim le biyorakachetz. But he is not able to discern whether his own Shichva Zera had that sort of strength. Amar, but he could say, Ihu Ezel Ensiv, it's Savivdok Nafshai. Well, I'll just go marry somebody else and we'll test it out. They didn't have the technology that we have today. So he said, listen, I'll just go marry somebody else and we'll figure out if I'm really the problem or not. Amar Rabbi Ami. Rabbi Ami says, if that's the case, Abzu Yotze B'yitin Ksubasha. So even in this case, if he chooses to marry another woman, the first wife who's claiming is her ksuba, she gets her ksuba. Why? Anybody who marries a co-wife in addition to his current wife, she deserves a ksuba. Rava Amar, not so. No say Adam Kamanashim Alishto. He can marry as many women as he wants, provided as long as he can support them. Okay, turn to the top of Samachay. Amid Beis. Who Amar Aflas Bigo Eser? He says that she had a miscarriage inside of the 10 years, which means, what did we learn yesterday? The clock restarts. Behi Amra Lo Aflis, and she says, nope, I did not miscarry within the 10 years, so you have to let me go and I want my ksuba. Amar Rabbi Ami Af Bezuhina Emenes. Rabbi Ami says she's even believed in this case. Why? Very logical. Because if it is true that she did have a miscarriage at some point, what does that prove?
She's not a Kara.
It proves she can get pregnant, and she would never want her reputation to stand as an akara. Why would she want to be known as somebody who can't have children? She'd rather be known as somebody who unfortunately had a miscarriage. However, in another case, 4th line, first word, what happens if she miscarried 3 times in a row? Well, then she's muhzak as somebody who unfortunately is unable to carry to term, and she's just known as somebody who miscarries. Who Amar Apila Trey? He said she only had 2 miscarriages, and he doesn't want to divorce her. Vihi Amra Talas, and she says, I've had 3. And she's still blaming him, and she wants to be Yotze with Ksuba. Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Bar Ben Elazar. Rabbi Yitzchak Ben Elazar says, what do we do with a case like this? He says 2 miscarriages, she says 3. There was a case in the base Medrash for Amru. She is believed. Why is she believed? Same logic as before. Because if she did not really have 3 miscarriages, she does not want to be known as the woman who's muhzak to miscarry. Okay, Mishnah. Ha'ish mitzvah al piri v'rivya. According to the Tanakama, the man and not the woman is obligated in pruvu. Abalo ha'isha, the woman is not. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer al shneim. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka argues and says, no, they both have an obligation. Who Omer Vayibarach Hashem Elokim Vayomer Lahem Elokim Peru Urevu. So Peru Urvu is plural language. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to them, Osam. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says they both have the obligation. Says the Gemara. Where does the Tanakama prove that only men are obligated with the mitzvah of Peru? Amar Rabbi Ilah Mishum Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon Amar Kra. The following pasuk: Umilu es haaretz v'chivshua, that you should fill the earth and conquer it. Ish darko lichbosh. It's the way of a man to conquer, but it is not the way of a woman to conquer. Asks the Gemara Adarabba, but I can prove to the opposite. The pasuk says v'chiv shua in a plural language, tarte mashma. That means both of them. So how are you proving to me from that pasuk? It would seem to prove exactly the opposite, that they're both obligated. Amar Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak, we have a Kri and Ksiv issue. The Kri, the way we read it is v'chiv shua, but the way it's spelled, v'chav shaksiv. It's spelled chaser without the vav. So we look in the Chumash, look in the Torah, there's no vav there. So because the ksiv is singular, we can learn from there. Rav Yosef Amar Mehacha. Rav Yosef has a different limud. Ani kel shakai perei urevei. So there's a pasuk later in Breshis, Perek Lamed Hey, that says perei urevei. The loka Amar peru urevu. So he learns from there that the mitzvah of peruvu is only on the man. Amar Rabbi Ilah Mishum Rabbi Elazar.
Don't go by the way we say it, not the way it's
In the mikra,
It's a very good question.
they always darshan these.
They're darshaning these, right. I don't know that this is. I don't know that we should take this figuratively, not literally. That's a very good question. I don't know the answer. Rabbi Ilah Mishum Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Rabbi Eli said in the name of Rabbi Elazar, the son of Reb Shimon, Kishem shemitzvah al adam lomar davar hanishma. Just like it is a mitzvah to tell something to someone else that they are willing to hear and willing to accept, kach mitzvah al adam shelo lomar davar she'eno nishma. So too is it is a mitzvah not to say something to somebody in a way that they won't take it. So a classic example is, let's say somebody is doing an avera, and they're doing it at the moment b'shogeg because they don't know it's an avera. If you know that by telling them that they're doing something wrong, they're going to continue to do it anyway, that elevates their mitzvah from a shogeg to a mazid. And you don't want to do that. So better to leave them in a state of shogeg than to tell them what they're doing wrong, and they do it anyway. Rabbi Amma Amar Chova. Rabbi Ava says it's actually an obligation to tell somebody what they will hear and to not tell somebody something that they won't listen to. Shneamar al tochach leitz penisna eka. Don't rebuke a how to translate leitz? Not a jokester, but somebody who's like cynical, like a scoffer. Very good, thank you. But you should rebuke a Talmid Chacham, and he will love you because it gives him an opportunity to correct his ways. So Amar Rabbi Ilah Mishum Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, another teaching from the same Amora. Mutter lo adam l'shanos b'dvar shalom. One is allowed to change things. One is allowed to tell an untruth in order to preserve peace. Several examples. Shnei Amar, Avicha Tziva, etc. Kos Amruli Yosef, Anasana, etc. So the Shvatim said, Yaakov Avinu told us, Yosef, to tell you the following. Rashi, 6-7 lines down in the narrow lines, Avicha Tziva, Yaakov lo Tziva. Yaakov didn't say that at all. Elohim shinu mipnei darkei shalom. But they changed the language of what Yaakov said to preserve the peace with Yosef. Reb Nassan, Amar Mitzvah Shnei Amar. Nassan says, it's a mitzvah to do so. Shnei Amar, Vayom Shmuel echelech v'shama Shaul ve'argeni. How can I go, says Shmuel? Shaul HaMelech is going to find out and he's going to kill me. Rashi fills in the blank in the very next Rashi. Uksiv, what happens after that? Vayomer Hashem, Kadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Eglas bakar tikach, take a calf with you, biyadcha, ve'amarta lizboach. HaKadosh Baruch Hu tziva l'shanos. Tell Shaul you're going to bring a korban. HaKadosh Baruch Hu commanded Shmuel to change up the little bit, to be Mishanis Lashon for the purpose of peace. To be Rabbi Yishmael, Tana, the house of Rabbi Yishmael learns even stronger. Gadol HaSholem Shav HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shinabo. The Meikar Aksiv. HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed up his own language. HaKadosh Baruch Hu did it himself. Because originally it wrote Vaduni Zakein. This is by Sarah Imenu. She said in a way of criticism, my husband is old. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu was relaying this conversation to Avraham, Ulamasof Ksiv, V'ani Zakanti, HaKadosh Baruch Hu reported that Sarah said she was the one who was old to not cause strife between Avram Avinu and Sarah Imenu. First wide line. Rabbi Yochanan ben Roka Omer, Now, if you recall, Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka in the Mishnah above said that al shnehem, that the mitzvah pru'ervu is on both of them. Itmar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi Chadamar halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, the Chadamar ein halacha Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi argue. One of them says the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, that the mitzvah is on both the man and the woman, and the other one said otherwise. Tistayim, it makes sense to conclude Rabbi Yochanan who damar ein halacha, that Rabbi Yochanan is the one who says the halacha is not like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, and instead is like the Tanna Kama. How do we know? Story time. The Yasiv Rabbi Yavo Mekamer Mishmei Rabbi Yochanan halacha. Rabbi Yavo was sitting, and he said in the name of Rabbi Yochanan that the halacha is like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Ve'ahadrinu Rabbi Ami v'Rabbi Asi le'apayu. Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi, in response to this, turned their faces away from him. Rashi ve'ahadrinu le'apayu. Just a couple lines below the Gimel Mem for Gemara. Delo Amar Rabbi Yochanan me'olam. Rabbi Yochanan never said that. The chokulu kavod v'lo ratu lachisho, but they showed deference to him, and they did not want to. They did not want to contradict him. Why? Just look at the next line. Rabbi Yavo karov l'malchus hava, because Rabbi Yavo was close to the Caesar, so they were afraid. V'ikata Amri, in another version of this same teaching, Rabbi Chia bar Abba Amar, that it was Rabbi Chia bar Abba who said it, not Rabbi Yavo. V'hadrinu Rabbi Ami v'Rabbi Asi le'apayu. And in that case too, Rabbi Ami and Rabbi Asi turned their faces away. Now, Amar Rav Papa, Rav Papa says, let's try and figure out whether it was Rabbi Yavo or Rabbi Chia bar Abba who said this incorrect psak in the name of Rabbi Yochanan. It makes sense to say that Rabbi Yavo said this over in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, out of the honor of the house of Caesar, because of his relationship to the king. They didn't say a word. But according to the opinion that Rabbi Chia said this incorrect psak, why don't they just say to him, Rabbi Yochanan never said that? So my habi Allah. So now, what do we do with this? What's the psak here? How do we figure out who said what? Tashma. The Amar Rabbi Acha bar Chanina, Amar Rabbi Yavo, Amar Rabbi Asi. Rabbi Acha, the son of Chanina, said the name of Rabbi Yavo and the name of Rabbi Asi. Uvda Hava. There was a case before Rabbi Yochanan. Look at Rashi. Uvda Hava, 10 lines up in the Rashi. She wants him to divorce her with a ksuba because she was unable to have children with him. So this was the case before Rabbi Yochanan Bekinish the Kesari. This came up in the shul in Kesaria. V'amar Yotzi v'yitem ksuba, and Rabbi Yochanan paskin in that case that he should divorce her and give her ksuba. Why? And if you would think that she does not have the obligation, that she does not have the mitzvah pru'ervu, ksuba ma'avidate, well then why would he order the ksuba? So in this version of Rabbi Yochanan's psak, he holds like Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, that she does have the mitzvah, because if she doesn't have the mitzvah, then she's not losing out, other than on the sort of emotional piece of not having children. She's not losing out on the mitzvah, so why should he have to compensate her? Dilma, so maybe the reason that Rabbi Yochanan paskin that she should have a ksuva has nothing to do with the mitzvah itself of pru'ervu. It has to do with some other reason for her having children, as follows. Dilma beba machmas taina. Maybe she came to Rabbi Yochanan for a different reason. Now, the reason has to do with having children, as we'll see, but not for the mitzvah. Ki ha'ida asay l'kavi de Rabbi Ami, because the woman came to claim her ksuva from Rabbi Ami. Amrale, have li ksuva. She said to him, give me my ksuva. I want to be divorced. It's been 10 years. I don't have kids. Give me my ksuva. Amarla, zil lomi pak, zil, go away. Lomi pakdat, you don't have a mitzvah. I'm not giving you your ksuva.
His wife. This is Rabbi Yami's wife, in other words.
No,
Oh,
he's the basin.
He's the
She's
basin.
coming to demand from
And
basin,
the husband is in the base name with her.
presumably.
Presumably, okay. All right.
Either he is or he isn't, but either way, Rabbi Amos like he's not having any of it.
Yeah.
However, she says to him, Amar Alei, she says, Misibu dila, Misibu from the same lashon as Saba, Sapta, Misibu dila. When she gets older, meaning when I get older, Mati Haviala dahachitza. What's going to be with me? Who's going to take care of me? Amar, Rabbi Ami said, Kiha vadai kafina. If that's the concern, for sure we force the husband to divorce her and give her the ksuba. Hahida asay lakami de Rav Nachman. Woman came before Rav Nachman with a similar claim. Amar la lomi pagdat. You are not obligated. You don't get a ksuba. Amar le lovaya hachitza chutra liyada. She said to him, does this woman, meaning does this woman not need a cane to lean on, umara lakura, and a shovel for kura? What she's really saying is, do I not need children to take care of me and make sure that I have a proper burial after my death? Amar. So Rav Nachman said, Ki ha vade kfinan. If that's the concern and it's not about a mitzvah, for sure, we force the husband to divorce her and give her a ksuba. Now, Yehuda and Chizkiah were twin sons of Rabbi Chia, massive Talmidei Chachamim, Te'umim hayu, and they were twins. But get this, Echad nigmarat surasa the Softisha, one of those twins was carried to term, 9 months. The Echad nigmarat surasa l'tchilas Shiva, but one of them was born after 7 months. Very unusual, but it is possible. The Rabbi Steinsaltz writes in the comment on the side that it's possible even up to an 85-day difference between births of those who were wombmates. So it's possible. I'm not sure how. Look, I'm not sure how frequent that is, but Mistama, maybe if there's a problem with one of the babies, maybe they can go get one of them. Who knows? Okay. Now, Yehudis the Bisu de Rabbi Chia, Yehudis, who was Mrs. Rabbi Chia, Hava Latsar Leda. She had a lot of trouble because of this difficulty with the twins who were born at different times. So what did she do? Shanai Mana, she changed her clothes to severely disguise herself. And she went before Rabbi Chia, her husband, Amra, and she asked him the following question: Itza mefakta apirya v'rivya. Is the woman obligated in pruarvu? Amar la lo. He said, no, she is not. So in accordance with that psak, what did she do? Azla ishtiya sama de akrasa. She went and drank some sort of a potion that caused her to become sterile. Because she had, as we're going to find out in 10 seconds, 2 sets of twins. So in the end, this became revealed that she was the one who asked her husband for the shaila. Now, either she told him or he found out some other way. But Amar La, he said to her, Iku yiladit li chada krisa achrisa. Rashi's lashon, for at least the second time in Yevamos, the same lashon that Rashi used. We had a daf over Shabbos. Umi yitain, I love that language. Shalosh chasis. I wish you hadn't drank that last Rashi on the page. V'tildi liod kares achat shnei banim, and then you would have had one more belly full of twins because she already had 2 sets of twins. And you got to figure that a woman who already has 2 sets of twins is pretty even odds that she's going to have another set. So the Amar Mar,
You want to go through that.
who were these 2 twins? Mar says Yehuda v'Chizkiah ache. Yehuda and Chizkiah, they were the twin brothers. Pazeh v'Tave achvasa, and Pazeh and Tavi were the twin sisters. Now, top of Samech Vav, these were huge, very influential, very consequential births. You ever heard of Reb Shimon ben Pazi? It's Reb Chia's grandson. Reb Shimon is called after his mother out of a kavod to Reb Chia. So these people, and Rabbi Steinsaltz points out in a column there, and that little comment on the right, who were some of the descendants of Reb Shimon of Rabbi Chia through his children who were twins. Reb Shimon ben Pazi being one of the most famous. So you see why he wanted another successful pregnancy from his wife, because now she couldn't take it, but that's why he wanted another bellyful. Now, the Gemara is going to return in this final piece of our parak to the question of, is a woman obligated in Pirya Verivya or not? Is she really not obligated? Rav Acha, the son of Rav Katina, said in the name of Rav Yitzchak, that she is half a maidservant and half baschorin, meaning her master freed half of her. The kafu es rabba, not rabba, the amora, rabba with a mapik hey, Rav Shala, her master. They forced her master to v'asa baschorin, and they forced him to free her. Now, isn't it because of the mitzvah pru'arvu? Answers the Gemara, no. Amar of Nachman bar Yitzchak, min of hefker naguba. What does that mean before we say the final line? Rashi, min of hefker naguba, lefish lo haisa yichol alina say, because she couldn't marry anybody, not a ben chorin and not another eved, because she's half of each. Haisa mafkeres atzma. She made herself available to anybody. The chotimba, everybody was sitting with her. Lefichach kafu es rabba l'shachrera. Therefore, they forced her master to free her. Hadron Allah Habal Yevimto, Hadron Allah Habal Yevimto, Hadron Allah Habal Yevimto.